which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty God, we ask you bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding, so that in fulfilling their public trust, every deliberation will result in actions that will promote the common good and general welfare for all the people of Morris Plains. Amen. Notice to members of the governing body and borough staff, any use of electronic devices during this meeting shall be solely used for the purpose of borough business. Welcome, everybody. Thank you. Sorry we went a few minutes over. We do have approval of minutes. Ms. Verga.
I move that the minutes of conference, executive, and regular session from September 3rd, 2024 be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Joan. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The ayes have it. Approval of consent agenda and reports. Ms. Verga.
Okay, the following reports from July of 2024, the sanitarium report, and from August 2024, grant writer, municipal court, police department, building inspector, animal control, animal licensing, borough clerk, tax collector, treasurer, fire prevention. Resolution 2024-140 entitled Resolution Promoting Police Officer Joseph Hines to the position of sergeant within the Borough of Morris Plains Police Department. Resolution 2024-141 entitled Refund of Overpayment. Resolution 2024-142 entitled Resolution of the Borough of Morris Plains, State of New Jersey, pursuant to NJSA 52:34-6.2b3, to enter into an interlocal agreement with a nationally recognized cooperative entity for the purpose of purchasing fire apparatus. Resolution 2024-143 entitled Resolution Requesting Approval of Items of Revenue and Appropriation, NJSA 40A 4-87, New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, NJPDES, Stormwater Assistance, $25,000. Having polled the council on September 9th, 2024, the excused absence of Chris Shea, fire prevention official, Relief Association delegate for the Morris Plains Volunteer Fire Department, to attend the New Jersey State Firemen's Association Annual Convention in Wildwood on September 12th and 13th, 2024, as per the Personnel Policies and Procedures Manual was approved. The residents of Walsh Way, west of Oregon Trail, be granted permission to hold a block party on Saturday, October 5th, 2024 from 4 to 8 p.m. with a rain date of Sunday, October 6th from 4 to 8 p.m. Further permission to serve alcoholic beverages be granted. The DPW will provide the necessary barricades. Maria Amelia Lopez, 2 Martin Luther King Avenue, Morristown, be hired as a part-time cleaning maintenance at an annual salary of $21,840, prorated, effective September 9th, 2024. The Morris Plains Republican Club be granted permission to serve alcoholic beverages at their annual picnic to be held Sunday, October 13th, 2024, from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Community Park Pavilion. The Borough Clerk be authorized to advertise for the position of part-time teen center supervisor. Downtown Morris Plains be granted permission to hold a pumpkin illumination at the Speedwell Ave Extension Merchant Block on Friday, October 25th, 2024, from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., and that permission be granted to serve alcoholic beverages.
I think, are you guys involved with that?
We are.
You wanna add that in here? Roseanne?
Well, that's the way we put it
Okay.
on last year.
That's fine. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dennis. Roll call, please.
Ms. Verga.
Yes.
Mr. Bruhn.
Yes.
Mr. Cortese.
Yes.
Ms. Goddard.
Yes.
Ms. Kelly.
Yes.
Mr. Wagner.
Yes.
Thank you.
At this point, I'd like to invite anybody wishing to talk, step up to the front, state your name and address, and your compliment. Mr. Grecco.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Council, Bill Grecco, 9 Higby Way. First of all, I want to, I beg your pardon? Is that me?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're answering your own question.
You beg your own.
I want to thank Bill for, at the last meeting, I had talked about the line of sight on the entrance to the Kohl's Shopping Center from Littleton Road. The high grasses have been cut. I thank you. Second comment, as we grow as a community, my question to the council is there a specific process to adding police officers as borough grows?
So we have a provision, we just did an ordinance, 2 years ago probably, I think it is, roughly, adding, up to 21 officers, to the department. I think it was at 17 or 18, I think, at
We
that
were
time.
we were at 17, we authorized up to 21.
And we do that as needed, so.
Excellent, thank you. And the last item is just a reminder to the council. I'm not sure when you do your budget for 2025, but just remembering your commitment
We
to.
just spoke about the lights, we're way ahead of you, Bill, so you're good.
Thank you. I thank you, Joan. I thank all of you for what you do and for your service to the borough.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for keeping us on our toes, Bill.
Yes, sir. It is my pleasure.
Love it.
Welcome back, take care.
Anybody else? Jill?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Jill Cecere, 11 Dayton Road.
Sorry, can you repeat your name?
Jill Cecere, 11 Dayton Road.
Thank you.
I just had a couple questions because I've asked them off the record to people and I've been getting different answers. I'm hoping to get an answer tonight regarding drive-through restaurants. Not McDonald's, just drive-through restaurants. I was just curious as why was a drive-through restaurant added as a permitted use to B2 business zone, but no other zones besides the existing one at the Cold Shopping Center?
Because I think there were existing zones, that was.
Just one,
Okay. So one, and we added another one.
but why the B2 and,
Well, I'll get there. It was part of COVID, downtown Morris Plains, business development committee, the planning board, board of adjustment, not really board of adjustment, but the council, everybody had input, all our professionals had input. It was a 2-year-long process that, we felt was important to put drive-ins or drive-throughs in other areas of the borough, just because of COVID, all right? Everything was turning into drive-throughs then, or drive-ins, whatever you would drive.
and that was 2020, 2021, even maybe into 2022.
Right, so that's when the process started, probably about 4 years ago, I don't remember the
No, I
exact
understand.
date off the top of my head. And that's really where it came.
But it
from.
wasn't adopted until October of 2023.
Right.
So changes could be made at any given time up
There
until then.
there were dozens and dozens of changes made between the time it started and the time that it was adopted. And up to the time that it was even passed, there were requests to make changes, not specifically on this item, but on other items of the ordinance. And this is what was voted on. This was the final version of what was voted on by the council.
Okay, and this leads to my second question, because the idea, I understand there was a lot of committees and there was different people on different committees, working together, and separately, you know. But someone had to have brought the idea of adding a drive-through restaurant in the B2 business zone to the table. And I'm not trying to point fingers. There's no accountability. I've been told many different names, and I'm not trying to point fingers.
Jill, I mean,
People make mistakes.
I don't think it was.
If it was a mistake, I mean, we all have difference of opinions.
I don't know what you mean by a mistake. It certainly wasn't a mistake to upgrade the entire non-residential zones in Morris Plains. That had not been done in over 25 years, right?
And
I don't know,
But
I don't know if you're
things-
ever, I don't know if you're ever gonna be able to put your finger on the person that suggested drive-ins. We have planners, we have engineers, the planner.
Well, some people have put fingers or pointed fingers. I don't wanna argue about that.
I don't know where that's.
Because clearly I won't get an answer. But this leads me to the fact that, like, I'm just confused. A drive-through restaurant is fast food. You know, there's no other types. So be it McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, Wendy's, whatever it may be. I don't understand how that would coincide with our master plan that says part of The goals and objectives are to promote a desirable visual environment and preserving the small town characteristics of the downtown business area.
Yeah, and the rezoning of the non-residentials was an upgrade following that, okay? To make it more appealing to whatever businesses, hundreds of businesses that were added in there. I think 139 that were
Yes,
added, and some were taken out.
And the B2 business zone has more permitted uses than any other business zone, if you add them up. It's a small zone, but it has.
I think the new overlay zone out on Route 10 that was constructed as well, it probably has, I don't know if, there's many uses that were approved and changed.
Was there a reason why in the B2 business zone, the center of town, like an urgent care facility wasn't added?
Again, I don't have it in front of me, I don't know whether it's not
Something
there
that
or
would
not,
benefit?
maybe it is, I don't know right off the top of my head whether that's on there or not. I mean, we have doctor's offices, across the street over there, Dr. Joseph's.
No, I understand, but an urgent care is a different, and I know we did get one in the Kohl's Shopping
Yeah.
Center, but I was curious because when you look at all the permitted uses of B2, there's only a couple that aren't allowed, and
It could have
didn't
been
make
because
sense.
of parking, because an urgent care requires a certain number of parking
so
spots.
is McDonald's, but.
Yeah, again, I don't have those
Okay,
numbers, but that may be one of the reasons for that.
And then on a separate note, I asked this, at the planning board meeting on Monday, and I think their answer was no, but I wasn't really clear, and maybe somebody, is there an ordinance stating the distance of a business dumpster that borders against a residential property line?
I'd have to look.
And if
into
there
that.
isn't, can we get one?
I'd have to look into that, I don't know whether it is, I think that there are, what's the word I'm looking for,
Setback.
setbacks, but there's something
The
else.
building envelope?
Because I do remember years ago, Friendly's tried to move their dumpster, they actually physically did have their dumpster moved that up against my property line, and we called the town, and they were told they had to move it back. So I would assume that was because there was an ordinance, but I couldn't find it anywhere.
Bill, do you have anything to?
I don't know specifically, Mayor, but I can tell you that that was not flagged, the location of the refuse was not flagged as a variance or any other design waiver or such.
Right, and I couldn't find anything online.
Complies with whatever the limits are in the zone. I don't have the specific number here.
Okay, that's all for tonight. Thank you.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Amy Melvin, 18 Beach Drive. I'd like to start tonight by thanking all of you here in the council for investing in the pickleball courts at Wagner Park. It truly is a beautiful way to increase the camaraderie, the physicality, and the building of the community within our town. And another big round of thank you for enclosing the courts with the fencing. This seems to be now limiting a little bit of the attractiveness of the young boys in town who are using the courts for creating skid marks along the surfaces with their bikes and their scooters. There are still markings occurring on the surfaces which could be occurring from continued use of bike riding and skateboarding, or from inappropriate shoes being worn when on the court. One doesn't know. The main reason that I'm here today is to express a concern following an incident that occurred a couple of weeks ago. I had accompanied my daughter and another friend of hers, both residents of this town, to play at the courts around dinner time. Both of the courts were occupied predominantly by 20 to 30-something-year-old men. I instructed the girls to wait patiently by the fence until one of the two courts finished the games that they were playing, and then they would have a rotational turn in the court. I went back to my car. I remained in full sight of the girls and the men playing. During the time the girls were patiently waiting, 2 or more 20 to 30-year-old boys showed up and deliberately passed right over the girls, waiting by the fence. I witnessed this firsthand sitting in my car. The girls came running back to me. They were very upset, obviously, and I had to intervene. I asked the newcomers why they jumped the spot, and that they also neglected to allow the girls to continue to play. What ensued was a very unpleasant situation, and certainly not one that I believe anyone here present tonight would be happy about for a town that prides itself in being the community of caring. You see, the one gentleman responded that he was there first, and he was just joining his group. What's becoming practice at the courts is that friends are calling their buddies to come over, and then they jump the line of those that were waiting and dominate the court time quite unfairly. Additionally, that same evening, another player told me, incidentally, the same thing happened to them a few days prior, but that it was actually senior women who were monopolizing the courts and not letting newcomers rotate into play. So it's obviously an issue. My recommendation to the council is threefold. First, I encourage you to think about putting a clear marked sign on the chain fence, rules and regulations for court time usage so that there remains some formality for decorum at the park. And this is very standard in surrounding courts in the area. 2, another common feature in towns is to have a holder for paddles, so that when newcomers simply come, when you come in with your paddle, it streamlines any confusion. You drop your paddle into the slot, and they know who's next up to play. www.nextuppickleball.com is one such place that you might be able to go to invest in such. It's just one simple paddle, and it affixes right onto the court fence. 3, another consideration is for actually the protection of the town from a safety and liability perspective. You guys need signage to ensure that there is some kind of guidance and protection for just some of these following areas. No usage of courts for bikes, skates, boards, scooters. That's still going on, I think. Only using pickleball equipment on the courts. There are people that are actually now using tennis balls there too, and tennis rackets, which is a little bit more dangerous because it's a different ball. Time allowed on the court, and what that looks like. Decorum while playing, perhaps usage for in-town residents, etc., etc. A simple Google search of standard court rules and regulations can help you with plenty of examples that are commonplace. You can just look right over to Morris Township, Gansey Field Courts. They do a very nice job of posting the regulations on the fence, and they also post them online for reference for the community. I hope that the council takes to heart some or all of my suggestions I've made tonight. The spirit of pickleball is enjoyed by all ages, the young, the middle-aged like me, and our seniors here in town. That's simply the beauty of the sport, and it's why it's so attractive to so many. I thank the council for your time and consideration, and I yield back.
Just a couple comments. First of all, if you ever have anything that makes you or your child uncomfortable, I want you to dial 911. They're here 24 hours a day. People always hesitate to dial 111, but if you ever feel threatened or anything like that, do not ever hesitate to dial 911. That's what they're here for, whether it's a little problem or a big problem. It was a big problem at the time, that's their problem. So if that does, make sure you dial 911 a second.
Will do.
Second of all, we picked a good night to come here
Yep.
because our director of
That was my
recreation
line.
is, our
Look right
director of
behind you.
recreation is here, so I'm sure if you, give him a couple, or maybe just give him your sheet there, he can discuss that, some of these further rules,
You have a
whatever.
picture of the signs?
From rec. For rec, that we can get that. I know our superintendent is already getting signage, for that pickleball court, exactly which ones, I don't recall off the top of my head, but he is getting signs, it might be bicycles, staying off the court or whatnot. But I think some of those suggestions are very good, and, certainly rec or the council, whoever, will certainly look into some of those, improvements. The other thing that I will say is we can't limit it to Morris Plains residents over there, it's
And
a
again,
park.
these are
Yeah,
very
it's a-
just suggestions. You know
Yeah,
what you
it's
can
a
and
park
can't do.
that's open to everybody, so, we cannot limit that, the usage to just Morris Plains people, so. I think you have some good suggestions there, and, hopefully in the future that some of them, if not all of them, will be implemented, and we'll go from there. So I'm glad that you're enjoying them. The other thing I'd like to say is there are pickleball courts also at Community Park. And the tennis courts, they're
Yes.
also, marked out for pickleball there too, so. And the third thing I've learned is maybe we need more pickleball courts, right? So we'll see where that goes too in the future, so.
It's wonderful to see so many of the community coming out to play. It
It's
really
good
is.
because people
It's
are
growing.
actually using them, it's money well spent, and people are out there getting the fresh air and exercise. Plenty of people are getting all that, so. So
Thank
we
you.
look into it, so if you just,
Yeah.
I don't know if you wanna just give your papers to, that's Jerry Sitman over there, and,
Well, I can work with you as well, so on buildings and grounds, and also work with Jerry on rec. So
Well,
we
give
have
it
our
to
meeting
Joan.
next week, and we'll, share this with the full board. It is something that I mentioned early on, I'm like, we need rules, but we didn't have the crowds until the fence came up, right? And now I think now that we have the fence, a lot more people.
Well, I don't know, because you had the crowds before, but they were all skateboarders
They
that
were,
were using
well,
it.
that's true. And it was people that were running
And
after
it was a
the
problem.
rules, and,
I
yeah.
can,
Yeah, we definitely need it.
I
And
was
they were
involved
bike
in-
tracking.
I was involved in building.
but I can't tell you what students do. People don't read signs, right? They're not gonna read the signs no matter what.
It helps
It
when
It
in
helps,
a
but
situation like myself to say, you know, this is what, it just gives you a little bit of guidance.
It gives you a little bit of
Particularly as a
leverage.
parent,
That's
if you're
exactly
dealing
right.
with a
You could point to
situation.
the rule on the
Just say, oh, we're
fence
just
when a
following the
person's
rules,
giving
it
you.
gives you, it just,
Yep.
it's a little bit of
A
decorum.
baseline, there you go.
Correct.
Yeah.
I hear you.
But you're right, the enforcement, that goes to another level, but
Well, see how fast they're there.
A lot of times if you just tell them, they'll go out, you know, but if they, you know, the sporty thing, if they see that, definitely call 911, that's what they're here for. I was involved with building a field here in town about 20 years ago, and a turf field, and I can tell you, I go by there every day, sometimes 3-4 times a day. There's 3 inches a month where I gotta go there and tell the little kids, give me the ball and get these bicycles out of the inside the fence area. There's signs there, they've been there, other ones have been replaced. At the end of the day, it's our own residents that patrol the streets and love our town. The reason I tell them is if they're running on the sidelines and there's a bicycle there, God forbid they fall on the bicycle, you're talking major versus, you know, having the fence there. And that's all I see in my head is one little kid, you know, falling on there. And now, you can't explain that to 10-year-olds, they're having a great time. This guy is gonna kick our bicycles out, you know? But it made me feel good that I know that maybe one of those kids didn't get hurt. And I did stop, and I wasn't playing. Sometimes I go there and play, but this time I just go there and stop, and I have to be honest, they've been very cooperative. I never once had a situation where I felt uncomfortable. Like I grab the ball and sit in the middle of the field so they can't play anyway.
You're not moving around that fast,
And they're not picking me up.
Jerry, you had something?
Yeah, the same topic Mike and I were just talking about right before the meeting, but it's come up this week alone 3 times. And it's not, you had the 20-year-olds, that's an issue where they should be more respectful to begin with across the board. We're having some teenager issues over there quite often and being verbal to the residents in town also. So that's why I already reached out to Johnny about signs and taking it the next step, how we could correct this issue. You know, we were kind of a good secret for a while there. Nobody knew the pickleball courts were back there, and now word is getting out, and you're starting to see outsiders come around here, and high school kids calling their buddies, like you said.
yeah, that's what's
And
happening.
now it's like, because it's easy access to a
Well,
court.
they don't have to pay, like the
Right, the township.
Do you think we should start charging people, maybe it'll help?
Well, there's
No, we can't
other
do-
towns
we
that
can't
pay.
do that.
if you
Don't
have-
say that,
you
Sal.
have to pay.
You're on tape over there, Sal, easy.
For non-residents, you pay a community pass fee to play in non-resident
You
towns.
have to show a card.
It's a badge.
Yeah, some have, like, our tennis courts, we sell keys, so you have to buy a key. That might be the way to go.
Well, and the key is
But
for
we can't do that
courts
over
at
as a
Jim
neighbor.
Field.
Yes.
I understand.
Can't do
I'm sure everything will be, it'll get better every week. Will it be 100% perfect? So like I told you.
Nothing's
don't-
ever perfect,
But like I said.
I think there was an opportunity here
Yeah.
to discuss, and hopefully I brought and shed some light on something.
Absolutely. So,
Thank you
leave
for
your notes
time.
with Joan or Jerry, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Moving on to reports of committees and or department heads. Finance, Mr. Wagner.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple quick things since our last meeting. Besides their regular duties in the clerk's office, they've been working on the renewal of 6-month parking permits. They're preparing for a November 5th election day and continuing to work on the many OPA requests that come into that office. And then our CFO filed a chapter 159, which I got schooled on exactly what that was. Which allows an amendment to the budget in order to add funds we received from the stormwater assistance grant that will be used primarily to update our stormwater maps. I believe it was a $10,000 grant, so. And that's all I got.
25,000.
25,000, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Public safety, Sal.
Thank you, Mayor. On the police side, it was very quiet this month, thank God. A lot of people on vacation, some of our friends, and there was 2 successful coffees with a cop events at the collection at the venue. Also, the police department certified 1 more additional officer for the bike patrol. Now we're up to 6 officers. Thank you, Mike. And the chief also submitted the 9 officers for their license renewal, which are now pending review by the Police Training Commission. Kevin's not here. He has a real, before I get to you, just gonna read one line. As far as the fire department goes, they scheduled the pump tests for the trucks, and they'll have the hose and ladders inspection scheduled shortly. Kevin's
Chief?
not-
Good evening. I'll start just with a quick rundown of the bogus calls for service. 71 medical calls and a response prior to EMS arrival. 55 foot patrols of the train station. 24 motor vehicle crashes with injury. 2 with 9 injury. 418 motor vehicle stops and 1,100 proactive patrols of residential areas, commercial properties, parks, schools, things of that nature. As Sal mentioned, we did submit 9 officers for their license renewal in January. All 19 of our police officers, including our class 3 police officer in the school, were licensed by the state. That's a 3-year breakdown, doing pretty much a third of the agency over the next 3 years. So this is the first round of that, certifying their license is active. They completed all their necessary training. Part of continue to ensure that New Jersey has the highest and most qualified trained officers in the state. So very proud to participate in that. Our deer call has begun. It started this past Sunday and runs through mid-February. We currently have 4 doe that were harvested at the start of the season on the very first few days. So looking forward to a good program there. As I mentioned, we had a coffee with a cop at the venue in the collection. It was great to see Bill and his neighbors, and as well as over at the venue as well. So both great activities for all of us to meet some new residents and make some connections. Other than that, that's all I have.
And once again, just congratulations to the new Lieutenant Guild and the new Sergeant Joe Hines. So I know they're definitely an asset downstairs. So
Absolutely, thank you very much.
Public Works, Mr. Bruhn.
Beautification at a meeting, and I know I've said this in the past, but they're a very dedicated bunch of volunteers and residents, and I love their passion about names of flowers, whether it's Latin or English, but they all have different areas that they maintain, whether they're weeding, taking flowers from somebody else's garden, putting it over there, and putting mulch down. So I really enjoyed just listening to what they're engaged in, what they're doing. Community garden, they talked about how the gardens now, people are planting fall crops, whether it's lettuces and beets, something that might be frost resistant. So they do a great job, and we thank them. They did reach out to the DPW to remove, maybe you've noticed, but the freight station over there, they took out some trees that were just older and not in great shape, some rose bushes that were older. So they want to start with fresher, newer plants and trees. So the DPW took care of that for them. Yeah, okay. I know I still Joan Stunner, but they helped with something at Simon's Park, so I'll let Joan talk about that. It came out very nice. They painted the lines in town. You probably noticed some of the crosswalks are a little brighter. Speed bumps have the little markings, the speed limit signs, whatever was painted roads, they've enhanced them and made them more clear. So we thank them for that. They maintain the vehicles, continually cutting grass. Leaf season's not that far away, as you know, and they repaired a bunch of light and flag poles, so they really do a great job, and we thank them for everything that they do. That's all I have.
Good, thank you. Bill, Borough Engineer.
Thank you, Mayor. been a quiet month, other than getting some shrubbery trimmed over at Coles. I really have nothing to report.
Well, that was the number one item, for tonight, so I'm
And
glad
he
that's
did
taken
an
care of.
outstanding job.
Outstanding job. Public buildings and grounds, Joan.
Bill, do you still have your clippers from when you were out? Okay. One thing I wanted to add, for beautification is that, Ellie Falco reached out to me, cause I used to be on beautification, and I said, well, it's art now. But, they're starting a composting, initiative. So, I don't know if you wanted to.
No,
Okay.
you'll probably tell.
So
that
they're
story.
gonna, actually, it's gonna coincide with the Wellness Day that Nancy will most likely talk about with Board of Health. You see how all of our committees kind of blend. They wanna offer, composting, equipment, and then also, they'll have educational material there, and showing you how to do it and some successes with it and how to basically maintain it. So be on the lookout. I believe that they're gonna be putting out some communication around that, but there's definitely a lot of residents in town that are interested in that. So from a buildings and grounds perspective, I just wanted to share an update. So I'm the liaison to downtown Morris Plains. And they held their first business roundtable this last Tuesday. Over 30 people attended, including local business owners, operators, Lieutenant Guild, Council President Verga, Councilwoman Kelly. And the feedback was overwhelmingly positive, and downtown Morris Plains plans to host a quarterly roundtable moving forward. Some of the things that were discussed, business owners shared best practices, how they do promotions, how they work on social media, different ideas on how to generate new people coming in, keeping current customers, all different types of things to really help maintain the business. In addition, they spoke about working together, which is exactly what we want, right? How great is it if you come into Morris Plains and you have breakfast at the diner, you go to Regalo, do some shopping, you have lunch at Tony's or Arthur's, whatever the case may be, and make it a Morris Plains day. That is exactly what we want. And at the end, they actually had a museum tour, and the goal of that was to really inspire some of the business owners. Some are new to Morris Plains and might not know our history. Others have been here. Arthur's, what is it, 70 years? So, but really just really instill what Morris Plains is all about, and that I think a lot of people enjoyed that tour. Some other things that are coming up, the second annual pumpkin illumination is going to be on Friday, the October 25th. Businesses are encouraged to register, so once again, that's a good opportunity for businesses to come down and share with the community the different types of things that they offer, while at the same time, residents enjoying the pumpkin illumination. So there'll be more information available on the Downtown Morris Plains website. In addition, we're going to be opening up the whole merchant block this year, right? Because we got such a tremendous outpouring of residents coming. We moved from the farmer's market little slot, and we're opening up the whole street, so that's going to be great. Hopefully we have the weather like we did last year. They also have the bike rack contest, so they hope to announce the winner during the pumpkin illumination, so that should be exciting. Just wanted to mention the farmer's market. I am a councilwoman member, but I'm also the market manager. 4 weeks left, so if you want to store some pickles or get some pies and quiches and freeze them, I recommend you do that. Lots of exciting things happening. We're really going to be trying to make it almost like a little Oktoberfest, try to make it a bit more festive, and there's going to be some additional new vendors joining us, and we're also going to have entertainment every week leading up to the end. I think this week that's called Bomber Jacket is our band that's going to be playing on our Saturday stage. So come down between 10 and 12 for free entertainment. And then lastly, just wanted to share what Art mentioned a bit about the DPW. So the soccer committee reached out to me, and they wanted to do something with that building, the refreshment stand down at Simon's Park, and they asked if they could do a mural. So I brought this to the council, everybody agreed, and they actually hired a muralist to do the design. It's very bright, and you're certainly not gonna miss it if you're at Simon's Park, but it certainly adds so much character to Simon's, and really makes that building shine. And the wonderful thing is that it was a partnership. Rotary donated some funds to make this happen. Nick's Janitorial Supply also donated time. Sherwin-Williams donated the base paint, I call it Mars Plains pool color blue.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, right. Well, people are, I'm sorry, Sal thought that we used the paint from the pool. I'm like, well, it's supposed to do it, but.
I was missing 10 gallons.
Yeah, yeah. And while it wasn't ready for opening day, this past Saturday and Sunday when they had games, I think everybody that was there, the parents, the kids, really enjoyed it. So I have pictures here. You can probably see the brightness from a distance, but I think it adds a lot of character to Simon's Park, and it's a really great addition.
Very
That's it
good,
for me.
thank you. Public health, sanitation, and sewage. Nancy.
So as Joe mentioned, Morris Plains Wellness Day is coming. At the Board of Health meeting in September 11th, they discussed this. It's planned for October 12th at the Community Center from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. And they will have wellness screenings. Some of these you'll need to make an appointment in advance, which you can look in the weekly email for that phone number to make that appointment. But things like cancer screenings and blood chemistry analysis. So there's a phone number that you can call, and that'll be in the weekly email. They're also gonna have free flu shots for Morris Plains residents age 50 plus. Bring your Medicare card if you have one. They'll have things like blood pressure screenings, and they're gonna have exhibitors to promote healthy living for the whole family. One that I recommend that everyone stop by if you have time that morning is to attend a quick Narcan training. It takes less than 5 minutes to learn how to administer Narcan to potentially save the life of someone who has overdosed. And the more of these kits we can get into the hands of residents, the better, because you just never know when you're gonna see someone in distress. And what I learned, I did this at the community exchange event that they had at Central Park on Friday, September 13th, which I'll talk about. I redid my training because my Narcan had expired. And they reminded me that if you administer Narcan and the person is not suffering an overdose, but it's something else, there's no penalty for the Good Samaritan of attempting to help someone who, right, it won't hurt them. So it's a good thing to have in your car, in your pocketbook, or whatever. You mentioned Mental Health Awareness Day. I saw Cathy there, the mayor was up on the dais, and I want to thank you for organizing that. It's part of the mayor's wellness campaign. From my perspective, we had from the Board of Health, Dr. Lauren Martin, who's a pediatrician, spoke about mental health in children. And Annette Wolf, the chair of the Morris Plains Municipal Alliance, spoke about the prevention programs, parent education, and resilience programs we implement in Morris Plains for all ages, including senior citizen, lunch and learns, to combat mental health and abuse of alcohol and drugs. There were people there from the sheriff's office, speakers about addiction of their own personal stories, someone from the school district about the programs that they have for students where they identify them very young and begin to work with them to try to treat some of these issues before they get too out of control. And there was lots of information about resources, so I'm looking forward to working with the mayor and he's gonna get that video up, but also there are a bunch of resources that were mentioned during this that we wanna put on our website and make available. So the exchange at Central Park was a similar event sponsored by Morris County Department of Human Services and the Interfaith Food Pantry. So there were tables set up all over Central Park, and you could go around to learn about what the different services are that are offered from the state and the county. And these were things like homelessness and affordable housing, senior services, and there's a lot of great info there. So I'm gonna work and see what we can add to our resources, share with senior citizens. There was one program that I did not know we had in New Jersey, which I knew we had in Vermont because my daughter applied for it. But it's called home sharing, an affordable housing alternative in New Jersey, where seniors can apply and young people who are looking for a place to stay at a reduced rent, and they have a whole application process and they match them up so that the seniors can have help with taking their garbage out or making dinner or whatever, and they offer a low rent apartment and companionship for a younger person or a companion. So it's a great program. Municipal Alliance met on September 9th, and I will be attending an assembly that they're sponsoring at Morristown High School with Stephen Hill, who was an athlete in high school and became addicted. He is now an attorney, and he's a public speaker who delivers his message from experience. So I'm gonna be attending, I think, since my daughter's a senior, I'll be attending the junior one. I don't think she'd be happy to see me there. They're also working on the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens program for 7th graders, which they've been sponsoring at Borough School, and sponsoring that with the guidance counselor, Brian Wilson. Stage fun is going on for 4th through 8th grade. It's with our great directors, Joe and Matt. The show, mark your calendars, Friday, November 15th, always a great show to see, and those kids are so into it. So that will be happening here in the borough. Lead is going on, all 3 programs are up and running for first, I believe it's first, right, Chief? First?
2nd, 5th, and 8th.
2nd, 5th, and 8th, okay, I wasn't sure about the one over at Mountain Way. So apparently the 5th grade is a huge class this year, so that'll be a challenge. Teen Center, we have 94 students registered. We had our kickoff event on Friday, September 13th with laser tag and sumo wrestling, only 2 minor injuries, which we documented. 60 students attended, and the entire board was there to manage in-person registration if students showed up without proper paperwork and medical forms and stuff. We had a Girl Scout troop approach us to adopt the Teen Center House as a Silver Award project, so they're gonna help us with painting, new curtains, clean out closets, so it's a great partnership, and those girls are also members of the Teen Center, so they'll get to enjoy the fruits of their labor, which is a nice situation. We organized a recycling day for the kids to work, and that's about it. More updates on Clean Communities next time.
We have a score on the Jets?
2.
14-0, Jets are
14-0.
winning.
There you go.
Mets are winning, and the Mets are winning 9-3.
Oh, Roseanne's in a good mood tonight, look at her smile over there. Ordinances and public utilities, Cathy.
Yes, thank you. The trees ordinance that we've been working on remains a work in progress, and I've been invited to attend the Shade Tree Commission meeting on October 7th. I'm sure they have lots of questions regarding the draft of the ordinance that my committee, Sal, Councilman, and Nancy Verga and I have been working on. I will have results of that next time. Joan, you're also the liaison, correct? Yes, thank you. Also, raised the streetlights. The Morris Plains Police Department keeps track of streetlights that are out and submits info to the JCPL customer service of First Energy Group. They then take care of replacing the bulbs. Chief Koroski has assured me that I will be notified at the beginning of the month with a listing of outages. Also, the customer service department has asked that they do it regularly, not hand in a list of 60 or 50 or whatever lights that are up, but try to get them done on a more regular basis. Bob Flynn remains our direct contact if and when needed. And that's all I have.
Very good, but you know what, we pay for those lights, so let's get the lights on. Shouldn't be 50, and they should be here more than once a month or once every whatever.
Well, I would get.
No, I know, it's
No,
not,
I know what you
they
mean.
should be driving around, they used to have people that did that.
They
That's
don't.
like, I understand, we gotta put that burden on our police when they can be
Yes, and
doing something else.
Chief
but,
Koroski arranges
Like,
for
we don't
that.
pay enough for electric, they can't do that on a regular basis anyway. Presentation of communications or petitions, thank you Cathy, anyway. Nothing, introduction of ordinances.
I have one.
Cathy Kelly.
Yes, sir. I, Councilmember Kelly, introduce the following ordinance and read the same by title and move that it be passed on first reading. Ordinance number 7-2024, an ordinance of the Borough of Morris Plains, County of Morris, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 22, establishing new Article 17 to be entitled Don't Block the Box.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dennis, roll call please.
Ms. Verga,
Yes.
Mr. Bruhn,
Yes.
Mr. Cortese.
Yes.
Ms. Goddard,
Yes.
Ms. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Wagner.
Yes.
I I, Councilmember Kelly, offer the following resolution. Whereas the above ordinance was introduced and read by title at this meeting on September 19, 2024, and passed on the first reading. Now therefore it be resolved that at the meeting to be held on October 3rd, 2024, at 8:30 p.m. prevailing time at the municipal building in the said borough, this council will further consider for second reading and final passage the said ordinance. And be it further resolved that the clerk of the borough be and she is hereby directed to publish and shall mail the proper notice therefore, including the ordinance, post the ordinance on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and to make copies available to members of the general public.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Art, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The ayes have it. And this is for the installation of a block-to-box that Morris County did on Hanover Avenue.
Can you give me an intersection for that, if possible?
The Buckley Way and Hanover Avenue.
Thank you.
We have no ordinances on second reading, no resolutions, no unfinished business, no new business, but of course we have vouchers. Mr. Wagner.
Yes, I have vouchers here, dated September 19th, 2024, for $3,359,088.60.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Art, all in favor? Art, so roll call, please.
Ms. Verga,
Yes.
Mr. Bruhn,
Yes.
Mr. Cortese,
Yes.
Ms. Goddard,
Abstain.
Ms. Kelly,
Yes.
and Mr. Wagner.
Abstain.
And that is for 2 months, really, so. Right, so high. We have no need for an executive session. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second by Sal.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, the ayes have it, thank you very much. Thank you to members of the public.